What is going on, guys? Today we are going to dive into exactly how much money you need to successfully start your dropshipping store. Let's get into it. So, how much money do you actually need to get started with dropshipping? Let's get into it. So, this is a question that I get a ton from people just DMing me on Instagram, people just asking me, and it is a valid question that a lot of people have. Is that exactly how much money do I need in order to be successful with dropshipping? And let's go over exactly what I personally think and what I would recommend having when getting into it. Let's go. So let's just go over the basics. The minimum amount needed, in my opinion, bare minimum, is about $200. And when you really think about it in the broad spectrum of things, that is little to no money to actually start a business when you really think about it, right? And that's why dropshipping is so kind of easy to get into, is because it doesn't really require thousands upon thousands like many other businesses that you would need to start. So when you look at the basic expenses, is $29 for your Shopify plan, and you get 2 weeks free with this, and $14 for a domain name on average. A lot of the apps that you can install on your site are free. They come with free trials, and you can really get the most out of getting conversion apps or apps for reviews, and you won't have to spend a dime on these at first. As you scale, as you're getting sales, as you see this work, you will want to start spending money on apps. But we're saying for just starting up, you can start with very little money. Now, where does this $200 go, right? The main expense is going to be for advertising and marketing. That is the business that you are in, right? Because the products that you're paying for, you won't have to actually pay for these products until they are sold. That's why I'd also recommend having a credit card along with this. Now, let's say you have less than $500, right? So basically, what I usually recommend is if you have less than $500, you could start with influencer posts rather than Facebook ads. The reason why is because Facebook ads and Facebook ad testing generally is very expensive and can be very expensive, especially if you don't know exactly what you are doing. So with influencer posts, they're very easy to do. They do have great potential. You do have to kind of vet the influencers that you're going to be posting on. You can't just choose any influencer page because, they might have fake followers, they might have fake engagement, the Instagram account or Facebook account might not have, the audience, the target audience that you're really looking for with the product that you're using. So, it is tougher to kind of vet which influencers to use, but they're great for also building up data for the Facebook pixel. So now, let's just say you just don't have that much money to go ahead and spend on, let's just say, Facebook. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't go ahead and actually create a Facebook page, link it up to your ad manager, and set up that pixel. Because even if you're doing these influencer ads, you want to make sure you have your pixel set up and ready to go so it starts to gather this data. Now, here's the thing. With influencer marketing, it can be very inconsistent and it can be much harder to scale. So it's really good for a learning experience and is great for beginners to kind of start out with. Personally, I only started with $800 with my first store. I literally had $800 in my bank account, and that was my first store. That's all I had. And I ran into some issues because I didn't even have a credit card. And once I started to process these orders, I had no money in my account until they cleared. And that's why I recommend having a credit card, so that way you can actually, process these orders, but you do have to be responsible with this. So it is possible to become highly successful with less than $1,000. And that's why I bring up the point that I only had $800 in my bank account. Now, that doesn't mean that you need $2,000 to really be successful. However, it does make things a whole lot easier with the more money you have, and that is no lie. So with Facebook ads, you're going to have the mindset that at first you're going to lose a bit of money spent before you're profitable with your actual ads. So you can't go into Facebook ads, launch an ad and expect to be, profitable within the first 2 days. Not saying that it's not possible again, but usually there's going to be a fair amount of testing and money spent without seeing a return at first, and you have to be able to deal with this. The reason why Facebook ads are so much better than these influencer marketing ads is because it's much more consistent. There's much more scaling potential, and it's honestly just better for the long-term growth of your business. You can constantly running ads. You can constantly add the budget of these ads. You don't have to be constantly looking for influencers. And this essentially can automate your marketing techniques once you have these Facebook ads running in the background. However, with Facebook ads, they are difficult to master. They can be expensive at first, like we just talked about, because you are spending a fair amount of money just with the testing process with these Facebook ads. And it does take some time to learn. There is a learning curve with Facebook ads. It's not like you just jump into this program and know exactly how to use it. So that's why I always do recommend, even if you do know a fair amount of drop shipping, and I have done this, is get a course on Facebook ads. Watch a ton of videos, consume a ton of content around them before just diving into them and not really know what you are doing. So that's what I definitely recommend. So how much do you really need to get started? Getting back to the main question, the main focus of this video, how much do I need to allocate to this business to be successful? Not very much. And obviously, a lot of people can critic me on this because, to some people, $500, $200, that could be a lot to them. And it was a lot to me. It was all I had when I first started was $800. So I'm not saying this to kind of demean anybody, but in the broad spectrum of things, once you get your store up and running, once you actually create a sustainable business that's doing $200, $300, $400 a day, not even crazy numbers, in the broad spectrum of things, $500 to start this is really not much at all. So you can't always go into this thinking that you're going to, it's a ton of money to start. I could risk losing it. And if you're concerned about losing money, if you're concerned about risks, then being an entrepreneur, being a business may not just be for you, because that is part of the business. Now, that doesn't mean to be a crazy person and just dump money into your dropshipping store without really knowing what you're doing and just risk it. It means to take calculated risk with money that you can afford to lose. So that is my main point. If I had to say an exact figure, I would say anywhere between $250 to $2,000, and it is a broad range, but between that range, you can be successful with anything. Obviously, more than that goes without saying that you still can be highly successful with them. So let's get back to it. You can start with a minimum of as little as $200 used very effectively. The more you have to spend, the easier it is going to be. And that is kind of a lot of people who have created successful stores already, have a nice income flow coming in, have a one-up, because they are able to go ahead and take $2,000 and allocate that just for testing and not really be concerned with losing it over the person who's just beginning and, doesn't really have $2,000 to just waste. So not only with ad testing, but purchasing a program to actually learn these Facebook ads can also be expensive. Not saying this to throw dirt on anything or anyone. You don't need to spend $2,000 on a course, $1,000 on a course, $500 on a course to know what you are doing with Facebook ads. I mean, you could find a cheaper course. You can consume content online for free. And I know this kind of is a contradiction because I do have my own program, but I'm just being honest. You can do very well if you really put your mind to learning and trial and error, and you're not concerned with losing money with Facebook ads. But however, I definitely think that it is beneficial to obviously know what you're doing, have a set strategy with Facebook ads, with starting, with ad testing, because if not, and I like to use this analogy a lot, you're basically just going to a casino and putting in money into a slot machine and hoping that Facebook or the slot machine finds your right customer and you win some money. So That's why I always recommend having an ad strategy rather than just going into it and essentially gambling your money away with your store. So it is possible to do with as little as $200. That's what makes dropshipping so amazing. That's what makes it such an amazing business opportunity and a great starting point for any entrepreneur who's looking to make an income online. So as always, I hope this added some value to your life, made you maybe rethink things. And if you did like this video, throw a thumbs up, subscribe below, throw a comment on any video you want me to cover. As always, I'll see you in the next video.